very, very warm welcome to our JCM Distinguished Paper Award and Editorial Community Gathering. It's a real pleasure to see many of our community to be here with us today, together with the distinguished nominees. So we are very happy to be here and celebrate this excellent scholarship, but it's also an opportunity for us all to connect as a community, reflect on contributions of our authors, and look ahead to the future of the JCM. I would like to thank you all for the energy, commitment that you bring to the journal, of course, the reviewers, our authors, and most importantly, and our entire team. So to begin, we, our editorial team, would like to introduce ourselves and then also follow by introduction of the nominees, the papers, and then we will announce the award. And the floor is with Olga. I invite you to start with the introduction.
Anna. So hi everyone, my name is Olga Gerald. I'm a professor of service management at the University of Stavanger, Norway. And my research focuses on leadership in collaborative, co-creative environments. So I also serve as co-editor-in-chief of the Journal of Change Management, together with Anna. So that's very short about me.
So on my side, I'm professor for organizational behavior and international management, and in my research I focus on identity construction processes and change. Then I would like to pass the word to Ben.
Yes, thank you. My name is Ben Kuipers. I'm a professor of public leadership at Leiden University. I'm also chair of the Leiden Leadership Center. My focus is on public leadership, organizational change and teamwork. I'm also editor of the reflection series of Journal of Change Management. This is a series of reflection papers written upon invitation by renowned authors in the field. If you're not aware of this, you can find the entire collection online on the GCM website, and it's full open access and well read and well cited.
My name is Lucia Crevani, and I'm a professor of business administration with a specialization in organization and management at Mälardalen University in Sweden. And I've been with the journal since 2019, when there was an effort made to attract more publications focusing on leadership in relation to change, in particular those kind of leadership research that focuses on processes, practices, relations, and interaction. And this is due to the fact that I'm interested in this kind of leadership approaches that try to challenge more traditional understandings of the phenomenon. Since then, we have published a number of special issues and as well included more research in this area in the editorial board, for which we are very glad of. And we are also pleased of being able to publish so many interesting articles, and invite you to continue to submit interesting work.
Yeah, thank you. And very briefly, I'm Olimpia Meglio, and I work at the University of Naples Federico II. And I think I was the last one to join the editorial board. It was at the end of the last year, and since then I've been enjoying very much working closely with prospective authors and their interesting submissions. In terms of research interests, I study change processes enacted by, for instance, corporate events such as mergers and acquisitions, but also succession processes in family firms. And I do hope to have more opportunity in the future to work with authors in the journal. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nina Meyer. I'm an associate professor in organizational sociology at the University of Aalborg, Denmark. I'm a qualitative researcher. I do ethnographic work in public healthcare organizations. And I've studied leadership practices, organizational change processes, and coordination within and across organizations. I'm particularly interested in how and why context matters empirically and theoretically for change research. And I'm one of the co-editors in a special issue, but I think we'll come back to that, right?
Thank you. Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm 𝘓𝘢 Kars. I'm an associate professor in organizational studies at Bristol Business School at the University of West of England. I am one of the associate editors of GCMI, joined around the same time with Olympia, I think, last autumn. Probably 11 months ago, perhaps. And as one of the associate editors, my expertise lies in leadership and capability development, organizational development and transformation, with a particular interest in lived experience. And I am supporting prospective authors who are mainly using qualitative research methods, but perhaps a bit more specifically creative research methods and more like ethnographic research as well.
Wonderful. Then I would like to introduce our social media editor.
Hello everyone. My name is Magdalena Zawicka-Wlodarczyk. I am both a scholar and a practitioner, and currently I work as the associate researcher at Zurich University of Applied Science and as a lecturer at Lower Silesia University in Poland. And my research focus on the impact of technology on innovation, on learning, on collaboration, human AI, particularly in the context of cross-cultural settings. And yes, I serve also as a social media editor at Journal of Change Management.
I would also like to introduce our colleague who is not here with us.
Rather than hearing me in person, that's because I, like lots of other people, have been caught up in the tube strikes and transport disruption that's happening in London at the minute. But I wanted just to record this, just in case that happened, to introduce myself and to say hello to everyone who's able to attend today's fantastic event. I'm a professor of inclusive leadership in Birmingham Business School and the University of Birmingham, and an associate editor in the journal. I'm particularly interested in work that looks at organizational change and leadership in environments of political contestation and conflict, and that's where most of my own work sits. So if you have a manuscript or you have an interest in this area and you'd like to discuss it further, I would really encourage you to submit to the journal, and I'm very happy to have a conversation with anybody who may have interests in that. So hopefully I'll be seeing you in person, but if not, thank you very much for attending, and I hope you'll be in touch with us all soon.
So now let's meet the nominees. So I will let first our colleagues introduce the nominees and the paper, and then I will pass the floor to the nominees themselves. So first, let's look into the opinion leaders in organizational change processes.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, so the first nominees are Thomas Koch and Claudia Voortkoort. We nominated their paper because of its large-scale quantitative study and its strong analytical dimension. We especially appreciate how both leadership and change processes are being addressed, and it nicely combines the various themes that we consider important in Journal of Change Management. Also, it approaches leadership from a more distributed perspective, away from the classical form leader-centric approaches. Further, it is methodologically robust, has practical relevance, and addresses a universal challenge for organizations. So congratulations with this nomination.
Hi everyone. So for this paper, Emotions in Organizational Change and Integrative Review by Fernanda Souza and Paula Chimenti, we nominated this paper because it contributes with a nuanced review of a very important aspect of change research, the role of emotions in change processes and change management practices. It also integrates both social, institutional, and emotional perspectives into change management. And the paper really underscores that emotions are essential parts of change processes and change management, and it outlines really important implications for practices as well. And we also appreciated the call for much needed methodological development in this area. So congratulations with this nomination.
Thank you very much.
Very, very briefly again, I have the pleasure to briefly introduce the Navigating Tensions in the Organizational Change Process Toward Hybrid Workspace by Marie Hasbi and Alfons van Marrewijk. Sorry, Alfons, I don't know if I pronounce well your surname. And we nominated this paper because it nicely combines relevance and rigor. In terms of relevance, we found that the focus on hybrid workspace since the COVID pandemic is very, very interesting, but it also provides theoretically intriguing results because the authors suggested attention lens is perhaps the most suitable to capture many nuances in the attempt from organizations to implement hybrid workspace. Perhaps even more importantly, we appreciated that the study contributes to viewing space and hybrid spaces as an ongoing process which emerge through the dynamic interaction between individuals and technology. So again, congratulations on this very interesting and timely piece and for your nice work.
We have our final nominated paper is by Nina Cohen and colleagues. And in their research, they are researching something that, well, unfortunately, most organizations are experiencing in these times, downsizing. So downsizing is now really, as I said, unfortunately, a regular feature of organizational life. But what is often overlooked is the experience of middle managers who have to carry it out. Perhaps it is more common to see research from a top executive perspective or employees who are affected, but actually we have not enough understanding of middle managers. So this paper brings their voices to the fore, showing the tensions they face as they act at once as implementers, communicators, and emotional bufferers, really. So this paper was nominated for the award because it reframes downsizing as a lived managerial experience rather than a technical procedure. It reveals how middle managers shift between rational and emotional positions, and by doing so, it exposes the paradoxes, the contradictions at the heart of the role of being a middle manager. It really stood out for us as the editorial team because it advances understanding of middle managers' sense-making under conditions of high emotional and organizational strain. As such, we thought that it really has the potential to contribute not only to scholarship, but perhaps also hopefully to more humane and sustainable change management practices. So congratulations for being nominated.
Congratulations also from me. And I invite us now to talk directly and learn about the story behind the papers. So I would like to invite our authors. First, Fernanda and Paula.
Hi everyone, my name is Fernanda Souza. I'm one of the authors, and I'm here to share with you the story behind this paper. My motivation for this work was born in practice. In my work with the organizational change, I was deeply uncomfortable with how much of our time was spent managing change through spreadsheets and PowerPoint slides. But change doesn't hurt because of logic, it hurts because of loss, and you can't spreadsheet your way to healing grief, nor can a slide deck persuade someone to give their professional identity. Next, please. So this led me to investigate the role of emotions in change management during my PhD at 𝐏𝐚𝐡, the business school of the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, which I earned about 3 months ago. I joined a research group on strategy and innovation led by Professor Paula Chimenti, my advisor in the PhD, and to explore a key question: why are business strategies so often poorly implemented by leaders? Where's the real bottleneck? Next, please. So we found that emotions are often treated as symptoms to be suppressed or as barriers to rational thinking, but the reality is much richer. And we found some interesting points. First, resistance is not always negative. People can resist and still do good work for the organization. Feeling negative emotions does not always mean rejecting change. And focusing on the past doesn't imply resistance necessarily. Nostalgia can actually build up connections and engagement. So what we did was propose an integrative model of this emotional journey, one that connects emotional sources, phases of change, and change management practices. We also saw how collective emotions shape change. For instance, when a company drops environmental initiatives to cut costs, an employee may see it as an ethical failure, sparking anger and collective criticism. Or in mergers, groups may hold on to pride in their identity, and that pride can create conflicts instead of integration. Next, please. So these finds remind us that organizational change is not just a process to be managed with logic and tools. It is a human experience shaped by losses, identity, and collective emotions. And recognizing this opens the door to a more empathetic, more human, and ultimately more effective ways of leading change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fernanda. Now I would like to invite Marie and Alfons to present their work. And then afterwards we can also discuss and exchange on the papers after Thomas, of course.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank you for nominating this paper, which is part of my PhD thesis under the primary supervision of Alfons van Marrewijk. So what motivated this research is that more than ever, the location, time, and lived experiences of connectivity are coupled with socio-technical organizational change. After the COVID-19 pandemic, several organizations implemented hybrid workspaces. These spaces allow employees to spend 2 to 3 days in a reshaped office into an agile, non-territorial open layout, and the remainder of the week, employees work away from home using IT. So, unlike the literature on virtual work, previous research on hybrid workspace seemed to overlook how employees manage and respond to the tensions arising from the use of IT. So that was alarming, as tensions are inherent to reshaping workspaces. Therefore, we followed Fairhurst's recommendation in a paper published in this journal to pay close attention to how organizational members navigate and manage contradictions and paradox as part of the change process, and aimed to answer the following research question: what type of tensions emerge and develop during planned change towards hybrid workspace? And how do employees navigate and manage these tensions? So to answer this research question, we studied an organization that reshaped its offices to support a hybrid work program, which allowed employees to request 1 to 2 days telework per week and transformed closed hierarchical assigned offices into transparent open layout with 90 unassigned desks for 100 employees. So the findings identify 4 tensions: connecting with versus disconnecting from others, agile versus sedentary work, paperless versus paper-based working, and telework versus corporate space routines. So by analyzing employees' responses to each tension, we provide practitioners and scholars with, first, insights into the discrepancies between the change planning, its implementation, and the lived experiences. And second, we provide with insights into creative ways to transcend oppositions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie. And now the floor is with Thomas and Claudia.
Okay, thank you. Hope you can hear me. Thanks again for the nomination. It's really a big honor. And just to give you a bit context on this paper, it's actually based on Claudia's dissertation. So she was the one who decided to run the survey, and she also wrote a book about it in German. I said, okay, we need to publish this data in a journal. We have to publish it internationally. But at that time, she already started working outside of academia, and I said, okay, the data is just too interesting to sit on, and so I took it forward and wrote this paper based on the data she collected. Our idea was to look at opinion leaders in change processes, and we were really kind of shocked that no one did that before. We wanted to find out what characterizes opinion leaders in change processes, and are there different types of opinion leaders in these processes? And for that, we needed a big survey. We needed to at least a few thousand employees, and this was rather difficult to find a company who said, okay, you can do that with us. So Claudia really did all the heavy work here, and so all credit to her. And the challenge was to convince a company to let us run the survey, because the topic is quite sensitive, and we had questions like, who supports the change, who doesn't, who's satisfied with their jobs and who isn't, and this was quite personal. So we had to make sure that everything was fully anonymized, and we also had to get the approval of the Betriebsrat, the Works Council, and the employees representative body, and we had to reassure them that it could not be individually identified. So Claudia wrote like what felt like 100 of emails, and she cast every single item in the survey with the company and every step, and in the end it worked out. And this shows, I think, what that persistence pays off. And what did we find out? That opinion leadership isn't random. They have strong personality traits. They maintain intense networks that cut across hierarchies and different departments. We identified about 300 opinion leaders in this change process. And maybe one interesting finding was that it's not just people in formal leadership positions who act as opinion leaders, but there are also other employees without leadership roles, for example, like well-connected experts or colleagues who are simply very trusted within their teams, who also act as opinion leaders and who are very important to talk to when organizations try to bring change processes forward. So by understanding who these opinion leaders are and how they differ, organizations maybe involve them more effectively or increase the chances of successful change at all. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Otherwise, I would like to briefly open the floor to Q&As or questions from our participants, but also from our editorial team. Maybe also on my side, it's also the personal engagement. The data set is fascinating, very difficult to enter, and the field to get the data that we could see in the 3 papers that were just presented. So it's really impressive. Maybe before we also move on, if you could just briefly, each of you, just tell about yourself, like what are your key research interests and where are you based, just that we can now get the face and the background on each of those 3 fascinating papers.
Okay, so I'm doing my PhD and final year PhD candidate at Vrije University Amsterdam, the Department of Organization Studies. And this paper is part of a large project studying everyday life and its complexities within multifaceted placelessness. And based on a case study of this 𝘕𝘢𝘐 pseudonym that is a bank based in Paris, where I used to work because before embarking in the PhD journey, I was a practitioner, having a 10-year experience in different domains, and that's how I get access to the company, and I did ethnographic work, visual research, and qualitative interviews. So.
And you work together with Alfons. If you can just
exactly, my primary PhD advisor, promoter is Alfons van Marrewijk. He's a professor at Vrije University at Delft and at Oslo, Norway. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for the nomination. I'm very happy to be here with you and getting to know all of you. My name is Paula Chimenti. I am a strategy and innovation professor at 𝐾𝐤𝑡 Graduate School of Business in the Federal University in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So the paper is one of the papers that resulted in Fernanda's PhD thesis. And I'm really happy to have this as a cherry on the top of the cake, because it was a pleasure to be Fernanda's advisor and working with her on this period. So my research, here we have a Center of Studies in Strategy and Innovation, and we have been studying ecosystems that are going through disruption processes, led by technology and innovation. So we're working with AI a lot now. And the idea is to understand what are the processes that help or challenges a company when dealing with innovation processes. So we have leadership is a very important part of this research, because after 20 years working with strategy, we realized that, okay, strategy only tells a small part of the story. There's a lot that has to do with leadership, with emotions, and sometimes the company has everything in place in terms of strategy and fails to deal with the other aspects. So we learned a lot in Fernanda's PhD, and I couldn't be happier to be here with her celebrating this. That is also the end of the hard work and great work that she did with us. So thank you.
Yeah, just to present myself, my name is Fernanda. I'm an assistant professor of organizational behavior at PUC, Pontifício Católico University in Rio de Janeiro. Recently learning my PhD, as I told you before, and I focus on the role of emotions in organizational change. So my research explores how emotion shapes the organization, the way organizations adapt, especially during times of uncertainty. And I'm particularly interested in how emotions interact with leadership and influence collective responses to change. So I'm very happy to be here and look forward to exchanging ideas and potential collaborations. Thank you.
Yeah, just very briefly, I'm Thomas Koch. I'm a professor of communication at Mainz University. I study strategic and persuasive communication, and my work focuses on change communication, but also CSR and greenwashing, corporate social advocacy, and media effects research. And I'm doing a lot of empirical research, but not just quantitative, like this study here, like in the paper I just presented, also qualitative approaches. And I did the paper together with Claudia. And Claudia used to be one of my students back in Munich, where I did my postdoc years, and there I met Claudia. And when I came to Mainz, Claudia kind of asked me whether she can write her dissertation under my supervision, and I said yes, of course. And that's how I met Claudia.
Yes. Well, It is my great pleasure and honor to announce the winner of the JCM Distinguished Paper Award 2025. And the award goes to, drumroll, Opinion Leaders in Organizational Change Processes. Insights from a large-scale quantitative survey to identify, characterize, and classify influential employees within a multinational corporation. It is written by Thomas Koch and Claudia Fortgård. So big congrats. And this paper stood out for its methodological rigor, but also practical relevance. You know, we often talk about how it's important for papers to have theoretical contribution, but it is sometimes equally important to have compelling data. And this study is based on a very compelling and impressive large-scale survey of more than 4,000 respondents. So it gives some really interesting analytical insights into a challenge that actually all organizations face. And it is how opinion leaders within organizations influence change. So, and also what really stood out to us in the paper also is the way that it combines leadership and change process, and it does that from a distributed perspective. So huge congratulations to Claudia and Thomas, and thank you for helping push the field of leadership and change forward. And also a warm thank you to all the nominees. Thank you so much for choosing JCM as an outlet for your work. We do appreciate it, so thank you. And also, well, this award gives us a moment to reflect on where JCM is heading. So I'd like to share just a few updates about the journal and how we see its future direction. So at JCM, we do see leadership not as fixed roles and change not as fixed linear processes, but as dynamic collective practices. So we do want to highlight how agency and context and relationships shape change in organization. And we would like to encourage work that is interdisciplinary and critical. And of course, also keen to support contributions that look at today's big challenges, both organizational and societal challenges, and that includes the UN Sustainable Development Goals as well. So our goal for JCM is to make it a home for research that is both rigorous, but also relevant for practice, policy, and education. And I guess this is our identity as a journal. So it's very much about creating space for fresh perspectives. We would like to be a place where people can publish work that may be challenging existing assumptions and also looks at leadership and change in new ways. Maybe brings in voices that might not always fit into more traditional outlets. So we hope that this mix of openness and rigor is something that we will be successful in cultivating as a core part of JCM. And another highlight that I would like to talk about is community. So both building community and bridging communities, because we're actually seeing submissions and contributions from very different regions. And our special issues also have been tackling emerging, sometimes critical topics. So this is something that we would like to keep strengthening, this academic practitioner conversation and dialogue, and both through conference engagements, but also research seminars that we're doing with the Organizational Development and Change Division of the Academy of Management, and initiatives like this. Like the Distinguished Paper Award, and of course with our MAD statement, making a difference. So all of this is kind of to link scholars, practitioners, educators, policymakers, maybe in a more sustained way. And just a tiny slide about the impact. In terms of impact, our 5-year impact factor is 3.5. We're working very hard to boost that as well. Our site score is 8.6, which actually puts us in the best quartile. Our acceptance rate is about 8%, and we're also proud of the speed. Once a paper is accepted, it usually goes online within 2 weeks. Our readership is strong. In 2024, our articles were downloaded over 328,000 times. And some papers are reaching wide audiences very quickly. And here are just some examples. For example, McLaren and colleagues, already more than 8,000 downloads, and more with colleagues already has 17 citations. So looking ahead, I think we have our priorities sort of very straight, pretty clear. We would like to continue strengthening the unique identity of the journal. We would very much like to continue building bridges across communities and also boost impact in ways that matters not only for research and research metrics, but also for practice. So those were very few highlights of where we see JCM heading. But of course, this is also something that we would like to shape together. So now I'd like to hand over to Nina and Olympia, our associate editors, who will share a little bit more about the upcoming special issues and JCM.
Thank you, Olga. So this is a call for papers for a special issue on dynamic approaches to context and change, moving the theoretical and methodological goalposts. So I'm doing this with co-authors from Denmark and the UK, and we are really hoping to advance a contextual study of change processes by focusing on context, sort of foregrounding what usually background, right? So really paying attention to how we understand and define and operationalize and study and theorize context in our change research. Unpacking this black box, if you will. In the spirit of this journal, but also in general, we really hope that the call for papers will inspire scholars from different disciplines and traditions. We don't have a specific sort of approach in mind when this call. We're just really curious, and you can always reach out to us and ask us if you think that if we think that your idea is sort of worthwhile to pursue for this particular call, because it is a call where we focus on contributions that extend methodological and theoretical approaches to context, more than just a call where we're interested in contextual change research. So it really has to speak to the title, right? Moving the theoretical and methodological goalposts further. But this, we think, at least, is also a big ask. So we've been doing different things. We've been hosting a webinar that's recorded that you can find online. And we've had a workshop at the Academy of Management, and we'll be doing sort of curated Meet the Special Issue Editors this fall online. So for potential authors, we're really trying to start the conversation and help people clarify if they actually want to move forward with a manuscript here. And the deadline is in December 2025, because we, at least in our experience, feel that this kind of research also takes a little bit of time to think about and write. So if this is something you think might be worthwhile, we are very happy to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing what happens when the deadline is passed.
Thank you, Nina. And now the floor, I would like to bring Olympia to tell about our special issue proposals.
Thank you, Anna. And before I tell all the participants something more about the special issue proposal call, I would like to emphasize that this is the journal that tackles leadership and change, and we have two great female leaders, and they are bringing us towards a new future for the journal, which includes several initiatives, one of which I have the pleasure to present today. So, as Lucia mentioned earlier, we have already published several special issue, but now we want to institutionalize a call for special issue proposal that will be advertised on a yearly basis, and so we solicit proposal for special issue from now on, but also in the future. So the deadline this year is November the 1st, and the decision announcement will take place in December the 1st, 2025. And again, as Nina mentioned, we want to give enough time to potential authors to read the call for paper, to reflect on the potential contribution, and have the time to develop a strong contribution. We seek? We invite bold, critical, and future-oriented proposals for special issue dealing with leadership, organizational change, and more broadly on transformation that aligns with JCM interdisciplinary mission. So, thank you. And especially Anna and Olga, you are fantastic leaders.
Thank you. You too. All of you guys, thank you.
So thank you the most important are our authors. So big thank you for contributing and making impact with your research through JCM. And at the end, JCM is our authors. So big thank you. I suggest that I stop the